So in a perfect world, that would be all we needed to do. We wouldn't have to run cables anywhere. We wouldn't have to think about powering it. We wouldn't have to think about how the gantry is going to move at all. But it's not a perfect world. So we need to run some cables, and then we need to think about whether or not everything is properly connected. So right now we're properly connected to the column that interfaces with the motors. But we also have to think about what happens when this piece here comes up past the motor. Now, for one thing, it's going to want to stick to the motor, and when you move, if we say, for example, we brought the gantry up so that these frame pieces here were on the sides of this motor, it wouldn't go up anymore because it couldn't push the cables out of the way. But as soon as we sent it down, it would start pulling this motor down with it. So we can prevent that from happening by putting covers on. And we also want to do a cover for this side of this one here that's going up against these cables, or the same thing. It'll start pulling the cables off. So that's good. That can pass through there with no problems. And now we want to think about redstone power for the lamps. So we'll put a piece of cobblestone torch, and I've got the wrong cables here. There they are, actually. Cables. Try and keep everything organized. Don't need that. Don't need that. I don't need all that slime either, but unfortunately I don't have room for it. We'll put those away. Those. Okay. So, lots of these. If I run out, I've got enough materials to make more anyways. Alright, so, first lamp. Ta-da! So then, these basically, they all follow the same rules. The cables that are directly adjacent to support frames will move with the support frames. But the tricky part comes when, if you look at the lamp and the cable, this cable isn't directly adjacent to a support frame. It's adjacent to a lamp. So this cable is going to need some extra consideration. Otherwise, it's just not going to move. But we can, like I say, we can solve that. No problem. But the first step is get our cables into place, because they are a little more finicky. There's more restrictions in terms of how you can run the cables than in terms of how you can arrange the support columns around your different components so that everything moves the way it's supposed to, I guess is the best way I could describe it. No. I mean, if a person wanted to, I suppose they could just use redstone torches near each lamp. Would still have the same problem with the cables. Anything running over the lamps to power them. And personally, I find it's visually unappealing to have a visible redstone torch, or a easily visible redstone torch near a lamp. It's kind of like, well, you've got a torch there anyways. Why not just use a normal torch and not use the lamp if you're going to have the redstone torch so visible? But that's just a personal kind of preference kind of thing. One more row. I think I've got barely enough. Oh, there goes a... Oh, look. Our friend came to visit us. Oh, we're gonna have... See, technically we had enough. Oh, no, we didn't. Dag nabbit. You know what, I'm going to say we'll just leave it there, because I've got enough here to kind of illustrate what needs to happen next. Actually, what needs to happen next is this slime has got to stop making fapping noises directly beneath me. Alright, so we've got most of our lamps are lit. This row is not, and that's fine. You'll still be able to get the idea of what we're doing here. So get my jetpack back on, and we'll go around to each of these and sort of get an idea of what needs to happen. So for example, like I showed you before, this cable here is not attached to a support frame, and these support frames here are not attached. So what we need to do is take a support frame, go like that, and now this support frame here is attached to that one, because you've got this frame here is adjacent to that one and that frame is adjacent to that one. So those are connected. As far as the cable goes, we can go like that. So now this support frame is adjacent to that one, adjacent, and then this block, even though it looks like there's a gap, this is considered to be adjacent, so that means this cable here is attached to the support frame. I think the succinct way of putting it is you have to make sure that everything is attached to the support frame and not just to whatever other block you happen to think should be good enough. So if you can keep that in mind, like for example, this cable is now attached to the support frame, but this support frame is not attached to that lamp. So we can put one block there, or just to make it look symmetrical, we can put two. Same over here. And it just basically going around and doing that extra little bit to make sure everything is attached. I also like to put covers on these because there's a chance at some point in the future that they may be contacting the glass up there and they will be sticky unless they have the covers on them. We do not want sticky support frames touching our glass ceiling to our underwater facilities. That's a good way to get a lot of water inside. This is where the frame economy comes in, if you want to look at it that way. Like I was saying before, however many frames you think will be enough, you're wrong. It's because of stuff like this and having to go back and make sure everything is connected, which is part of the challenge. But like I say, the rules are not complicated. It's just understanding them and then methodically going through and making sure that you're following them at every intersection, every place where things might be inclined to come apart. And I have, see, I've got one, basically I've got one stack left now. I've got 56 after I just placed that last one, and I had 4 before, and we're only doing half. So I mean, and I honestly thought that with 4 stacks it would be enough because of what I'd been doing up to this point. Now I don't have cables running to this lamp yet, but I want to set myself up so that when I do, I just have to run the cables and the support frames are done. So that's what I'll do now, is I'll just kind of scoot down here, get these properly taken care of. And again, joined and joined. And now put one there, but remember the motor and such are going to be pushing down through there, so we don't want to be plugging that, but we can come around and go like so. And that way everything is properly joined. All those are joined. And just like a lot of things that I've been doing, having the jetpack to kind of hover around and get a higher up look is pretty nice alternative. It's very, very convenient. I can see the temptation is very real to make one of the flying rings, but I'm still kind of steering clear of the EMC for at least a little while. I'm getting to the point now where I'm indifferent to it. Previously, I was kind of wanting to keep away from it just because, you know, I wanted people to understand that the things that I was doing were readily duplicatable without having to use equivalent exchange. Now it's kind of like there's not a whole lot that I haven't done. So it's like, okay, well now I don't mind taking a few shortcuts, but we'll see how that pans out. I've actually expanded my equivalent exchange EMC generators, but I'm keeping those fully segregated from everything else that I do just to avoid any kind of controversy. I like to read around the different forums, mostly read. I post very, very seldomly, but just read and see what other people are doing, seeing what, for the same reason that I think people sometimes watch my videos, is they just want to see what's going on, see what someone else is doing. So that's what I do, is I read the forums, and man, I am just blown away by the controversy over so many different things. I mean, I'll save it as something to talk about in the future, but I'm just like, wow, I can't believe people would act that way. I am going to have no choice. Actually, you know what? We're just going to scavenge. That's all we're going to do, because we don't need a lot of extra pieces, but we do need more than what we've got. So we're going to gobble these ones up, and then that hopefully will be all we need. You'll be able to see whether or not this thing moves. So for that reason, we're just going to start now. We can't be cheap for these. There we go. That guy. That guy. Oh, we're down to the wire. I might have to go scavenge some more. I'm just surprised that I ran out. So I kind of did it on both sides from there. I'm not exactly brokenhearted over it, but... So I've got 4 left. It's not going to be enough. Damn it. That's fine. There's plenty more nearby, but... We'll, It's hours we're allowed to scavenge from it. Alright, so we've got most of the basic support frame connected, but now again double checking to make sure our cables over the lamps are also connected to the frame structure. We got this guy over here needs some attention. This over here is just being kind of useless. And what else? Oh, there's another one. This is, I mean, I used to do a lot of computer programming stuff, coding, and there was always that point in the debugging process where you knew you had a very, very simple mistake, and you thought you knew what it was. So you'd spend all your time going around looking for that mistake instead of just keeping your eyes open for any mistake, and it took 10 times longer than it needed to. That's what can happen here. So I like to try and keep things as organized in my mind as possible. Like now I'm connecting the basic support frame, now I'm connecting the cables. Now I've got another slime fapping below me. I've got a squid coming through the glass. See, it's so easy to get distracted. Go away, slime. I actually got to level 50. I enchanted a helmet. And now I'm back to level 22. Just from slimes. That's all I kill now is slimes in my base. Alright, so these ones at the intersections, at the corners, they tend to be a little bit more involved. In this case, it's actually not too bad. We can just go like that. But at the ends you saw, we had to kind of build out a little bit and go up, put the covers on. So that guy is good. We're out of support frames again. Actually, what we can do is I'll scavenge these, and then we'll try it, and we'll see if it'll move the way it is now. My first guess will be no, that I've probably missed a thing or two. It would be so much easier if it would just tear itself apart. But it never does, so we want either one, up or down, will work. And it did go down, and it is Did that glitch or did that work? So here we can see how it tore itself apart. This, I mean, this is the best example that I could possibly hope to give you. Is this was on that lamp, but we had nothing here to connect the two to the support frame, so everything moved but this piece here. So that's exactly why we need to make sure that everything is properly attached to the frame. So I'm actually glad that I did that. Now in this case, that's why this worked and shouldn't have. Actually, none of these. This won't work where I put it here because when I go to finish it off, I'm going to have cable running that way. So I can't have that there, and that's fine. We can just put that here and then up one, and now it's adjacent. You can see here it pulled itself apart because of the same reason. So in this case, again, we'll be having, once we put that support frame in that way and put the rest of the lamps on that side, we'll be having a cable running through there. And possibly even a cable running along there as well, or we might just stop it up there. So either way, we can go like this and up, one there, and then we'll replace that guy and then bring there. So these guys here, these extra two, are specifically just for the purpose of bringing the support frame over top of that one little guy there so that he is held in place. We'll do the exact same thing here. Do up, up, over, and back, and that way he's covered. He's not going to get pulled out. Same thing here. And even though that stops over there, we're just going to treat it like it's coming all the way through, and again, covered so that he can't go anywhere. These ones, again, because we'll eventually have a cable running that way. We don't even need to. We can just do like that. We don't need this guy here. On the sides, it's a little bit easier than on the corners. So we'll just kind of do everything over here. You can see is still intact. We didn't have any tear away. Nothing sort of came apart. This we actually left it like that. We didn't join those together with cables. So now we'll come along here. Now if I had tried to move that up, it wouldn't have moved, because the same blocks that pulled away when we lowered it down would have prevented the frame from moving. So that was good that we had the opportunity. We did have a spot we could pull it down, but now we need to send it up, and you notice it didn't work. Oh. I wonder if that's it. Bet you it is. There we go. That's how simple it was. It's just those two blocks, seemingly innocuous places, throwing a wrench in the gears of progress. But now, despite the visual glitchiness, and what the hell? That is pretty glitchy. There is, yeah, it's invisible, but it is there. Like you can see if I hold down the jetpack, I should be ascending, were it not for the frame piece that's in the way, but it's it's a little bit glitched. So that's as high as that one wants to go. The only one that I've got that actually goes all the way up to the ceiling is that one, and I have to figure out why. Both this one and that one want to stop for whatever reason. They won't go past a certain point, even though they should technically go all the way up. But it's not important. Like you can see here, even if that's as high up as it goes, that's pretty good height for the lights. We can move them up out of the way if we want to build something higher than, say, a couple blocks over our head. And that was sort of the whole idea, mostly as a project to get some familiarity with frames as opposed to anything else necessarily. Sometimes it's good to just take on something like that. Like I say, do it in a safe, controlled way in an environment where if things go wrong, worst case scenario, you just scrap everything and start over. It's not a big deal. So in this case, like I say, they look like giant industrial spaceships, which is fine by me. And I need some more materials. I need to put together some more frames and some more lamps and all that other stuff and get it finished. But that won't take long at all. So I hope this was both entertaining and informative. A little bit different trying to do it real time and figure things out while I'm doing commentary, but I'm working on it. If you're enjoying this series, by all means, spread the word, let other people know what we're doing over here, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care, guys.